Hi, this is Sweet June 2010. Coming back at you with another interesting video topic. Um, I noticed that when I see black people protesting down in various places, when it comes time like Milwaukee and different Baltimore and different places like that, when black people are having their protest rallies and things like that, I noticed that there's some white people that's down there. You know, when I look at it on the news and stuff, I noticed that they have white people down there on the lines as well. I don't know if any of you have noticed that, but I noticed that there's white people, and I've actually seen pictures of white people holding signs and everything. But the Black Lives Matter crowd movement and everything that they've had, I have seen some white people that was actually a part of that participated in that, and they were holding up signs and all this kind of stuff. And I just want to say, I think that's wonderful. I really think that's wonderful. Even back when you go back to the civil rights era, and you go back to the Martin Luther King era, the civil rights era, when they had the marches and stuff, there were white people that participated in that as well. When they did the what they call the thing with the bus, when they did the thing with the bus, oh, they called them the Freedom Riders. The situation where with the bus, with the people, the black people that was on the buses, they called them the Freedom Riders. There was actually a lot of white people that participated in that, and there was some white people that lost their lives. There was white people that had put their lives on the line to stand up for what was right, to stand up for black people, and there was some white people that actually lost their lives right along with some of the black people. And historically, and then there was actually white people marched. There was Bernie Sanders was one of them, that marched with Martin Luther King, and there was a lot of white people that participated in that, believe it or not. And that's what this video is going to be about. I want to give a shout out to the white people that actually get it. They actually get it. They realize that we do have a serious race problem in this country. They realize that we have a serious problem with racism in this country, and they're not like some of these other white people out here that are kind of in denial about it, or they're in denial about it, or they don't want to, because it's not affecting their lives. They don't really worry about it or think about it because it's not affecting their lives, or they just they ignore it, or they make excuses, and some of them will even justify and make excuses for it. There is absolutely no excuse for treating someone differently because of their race or their ethnicity or the color of their skin or whatever. There is absolutely no excuse for mistreating someone or treating someone differently or unfairly because of their race and their skin complexion. There's no reason for it. There's no excuse for it whatsoever. I don't care. And there's actually white people out there that try to justify, and they make excuses. It's like every time there's a shooting with the police, I read the blogs. I make sure that, I read the blogs on Facebook, and you always going to have those ones that come. There's always white people that come on there, and they try to justify it. They try to justify the shooting. Well, if he hadn't been resisting arrest, and they don't even be knowing the situation. They don't even be knowing the whole situation. They just running off at the mouth. Well, if they hadn't been resisting arrest or whatever, they try to make excuses. See, they make excuses for it, and they justify it. And it's really frustrating being a black person. It's very, very frustrating reading something like that, because you're like, really, you don't get it, And I say they don't get it. They don't want to get it. And of course, you got some white people that are just blatantly racist, and they don't care. I mean, they're going to justify it because they're blatantly racist. And then you have some white people that, they living in a state of oblivion, and they don't really, because it doesn't affect their lives, they don't really care about it. That's your problem, not my problem type of thing. I used to work with a white lady, and she used to say, well, as long as it doesn't come to my backyard, I'm not going to worry about it. She used to say that all the time. Well, as long as it doesn't come to my backyard. So it's that type of mentality. As long as it doesn't affect your life, then you're not going to worry about it type of situation. So, you got white people that feel that way. And you got white people that just can't get it. That just don't get it. And I say if they don't get it, they don't want to get it. You know what I'm saying? And you try to discuss your average white person, when you try to discuss racism with them, they don't get it. Your average white person, they don't get it. It's like trying to talk to a brick wall or something. It's best not to really have those conversations unless you're having the conversation with a white person that actually gets it. Then it's a waste of time, because they're only going to see what they want to see. They're gonna understand what they want to understand, and they're gonna only want to see what they want to see. And that they don't want to see, they're not gonna see it. I don't care how much you tell them. I remember on my last job, I was trying to tell I was trying to educate some of my coworkers, and I was trying to tell them that I used to work at this assisted living facility, and I was trying to tell them about educate them about different things, like affirmative action and everything like that, because they always think when they see a black person on the job, they automatically think that, oh, well, you must have got through affirmative action. And so I had to let them know and make it very clear to them that I got this job because I was qualified for it, not because of affirmative action. Because I used to take care of a lady when I was doing home care work. I used to take care of a lady that actually lived in that facility, and the director knew me. At the time, she was a nurse, and the director knew me. So, they knew that was one of the things that they brought up when I interviewed. So, I let them know straight up, I'm here because I'm qualified. Okay, just so we're clear. And so, that's stereotypical, obviously, right there. And then I had to educate them on, I was like, statistically, I was talking about adoption one time, and I was telling them statistically black children don't get adopted out at the same rate as white children. And I said, that is not an opinion, that is a fact. And I would tell them it's not an opinion, it's a fact. And so I was just trying to educate them on different things, and just trying to let them know that they sometimes white people try to suggest that black people are getting all the jobs. Where in the heck are we getting all the jobs? And so I would tell them, well, when you look at the unemployment rate has been high for black people for decades. So that's obviously not true. And so I used to educate them on different things. And so they, at the end of the day, they only wanted to see what they wanted to see. And then they would make excuses, but this and that and this and that and the other is the reason, and that's an obvious thing that a lot of times that they say, And so I say, if they get it, it's because they want to get it, and if they don't get it, they don't want to get it. But there is a percentage of white people out there that actually get it. They actually get it, and they understand. I remember I worked with a lady. I used to work at this nursing home in the kitchen. I was a dietary aide, and I met a white lady. She me and her got real cool because she had biracial children, and me and her, I used to call her black girl, white girl, because talking to her, it was like talking to a black person in a sense. And so me and her, we really hit it off, and we got really cool and everything. And I was experiencing some racism on that job, and she actually acknowledged the fact that I was experiencing this racism on this job. She actually acknowledged the fact that this was something that was going on, whereas everybody else was kind of in denial about it. You know what I'm saying? To act like it wasn't going on. So she actually acknowledged the fact that I was going through that. And so there is white people out there that actually get it, you know. And I just want to give a shout out to those white people. I just want to give a shout out to the white people that's on the front lines. You know, the Black Lives Matter crowd. They're holding the picket signs, and you know, the white people that are actually standing up against racism, and they're acknowledging the fact that we do have racism, and this is a racist country. And they're not only acknowledging that, but they're standing up against it, and they're taking they're standing up against it, and they're speaking out. And you know, I think that is the most powerful thing in the world. When you get a white person, that holds a lot of power. When you get a white person that actually stands up and speaks out against, acknowledge the fact that there is racism, and they actually speak out and stand up and fight against it, man, that holds a lot of power. It holds so much power, and it speaks volumes. It speaks volumes. When you have a white person that's standing up, that speaks volumes. It's so powerful. It's very powerful. And I wanna actually give a special shout out to this lady. Her name is Jane Elliott. I don't know if you guys ever heard of her. Check her out on YouTube, because there's a bunch of material and videos of her on YouTube. She was on Oprah years ago, and she did an experiment. She did a brown eye, blue eye experiment on the Oprah Winfrey Show like years ago, where she treated the blue eye people. She segregated the blue eye people and the brown eye people, and she treated the blue eye people better than she did the brown eyed people. And then at the end of the it was like an experiment, it was like a social experiment. And then at the end of the show, the brown eyed people were enraged. They were enraged because she fed the blue eyed people. The blue eyed people got special treatment, and the brown eyed people didn't get, you know. And so at the end of the show, the brown eyed people were enraged because they was treated the blue that they got mad because she treated the blue eyed people better than them. So her point to that experiment was, this is how black people feel in America. Black people feel this way in America when they get treated differently, get discriminated against, or not get certain things because of their color. This is how black people, you guys felt like this for this short period of time. Just imagine how black people feel like this all their lives. So that was her point, and I just thought that was I thought she was brilliant. She was brilliant. And she's went on to do talks. She went on to do talks all over the country, going to colleges and everything, and doing all kind of talks and everything. And she did this one thing where she was talking, somebody posted the video actually on Facebook, and she was talking to a white audience, and she told them, if any of you want to be treated like black people and the African Americans in this country, stand up. She said, if any of you want to be treated like African American people in this country, you stand up. She repeated it twice. Some of them was out in the audience looking crazy. Then one of them stand up. And she said, that lets me know right there, you know what's going on. And I love that lady. I just love this lady. She said, my job is to educate, and I'm going to educate people about this. And I mean, she's powerful. This lady is powerful. This lady's bad. She's powerful. And she is very vocal. She not only acknowledges racism, she not only speaks out about it, but she actually challenges people and do different experiments and everything, and mentally challenge people to say, this is what's going on. She tried to wake people up, because ultimately, and she said this one time, and I said this in one of my other videos, racism is going to ultimately wind up affecting all of us. It's going to affect all of us. So black people white people or anybody, we cannot afford to be in a state of oblivion when it comes to racism. You know, we got to deal with this thing. And if we don't, if it's like a racism is like a cancer. It's like it's spreading now. It's like it's out of control. It's like a horrible cancer, and now it's just spreading and it's just out of control now. And I'm so afraid that it's going to get to a point. People are starting to talk about that we're going to have a possible race war, and it's going to be horrible. It's going to be horrible, and so it's so important for black people and white people to stand up against this thing. That we need to stand up, and the good white people needs to outnumber the ones that's racist. They, you know, it's important that they outnumber them, so those people will be outnumbered. But if we don't get this thing under control, and Jane Elliott has made this point, and she is absolutely correct. If we don't get racism under control, and if we don't get it under control now, it is going to become a major problem in this country. We're already having people going around shooting the police and killing the police officers because they're angry. It's just going to get worse, guys. It's ultimately going to affect us all, and it will be. I'm praying to God, Jehovah God, that it's not going to be a race war. I'm really hoping and praying that we don't have a race war, but I guarantee you, if we do have a race war, all of us are going to be affected by that. Not just black people, but we're all going to be affected by it. And if they call this martial law thing into effect, we're all going to be in trouble. Every last one of us in this country, we're going to be in trouble if they call this martial law into effect, because that's going to take away a lot of our freedoms. If they call this martial law into effect, it's going to take away a lot of our freedoms, and a race war could bring on this martial law effect. So you guys, we can't afford to be in denial about racism. Nobody can afford to be in denial about racism. White people, black people, nobody. Because believe it or not, you got some black people out there that's, well, they're brainwashed and they're living in a state of oblivion. But none of us can afford to be in denial about this thing. We gotta stand up, and I really appreciate the white people for standing up. The white people that actually stand up and actually get it. I take my hat off to them. Well, I would, but my hair is a mess. But I would give them a shout out. You know, I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart. We need more white people like that to stand up, you know, against this thing. We need to fight this thing, America. We need to fight this thing. If we don't get this thing under control, if we don't get this racism, all this stuff under control, it's going to control us. And it's ultimately going to affect us all. So these white people, certain white people thinking that they're not going to be affected by it, think again. You will be affected by it. You know, you can't afford to be in denial about it. You can't afford. At one time, you could afford to be in denial, but now everything is starting to come to a head, and nobody can afford to be in denial about this thing. We got to start fighting this thing. Okay, let me know in the comments section what you think about this. Let me know what you think. I want to hear your opinions. But we got to get this thing under control. It's like a cancer that's just spreading out of control. We got to get a handle on this racism in the country, people, or it's about to get real out here. But let me know what you think in the comments section. More interesting video topics coming up. Peace and love. This is Sweet June 2010.